Drew, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm glad
Good.
that you could make it. And I appreciate you accepting the invite because you have a lot of fans within our community. And I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, you've been doing YouTube over 5 years now, right?
That sounds about right. Yeah, every now and then click on one of my first videos that I've ever made, and I can't even make it all the way through it because they were so bad. But yeah, I've been
Yeah,
doing it a while, and I've kind of found something that works for me. And yeah, I've been going strong 5 years now.
yeah. And what was your woodworking background prior to YouTube?
Uh, I really don't have a background in woodworking. My grandfather was a real big woodworker, and my father dabbled in it as well. So I had some exposure to it, but I never really got the woodworking bug until, well, about probably 6 years ago. I moved into my current house, and the basement was not finished. So it was all just concrete down here. And I thought, you know what? I could probably save some money if I figure out how to finish off this basement myself. So during that process, I picked up some cheap tools and a cheap little job site table saw. And I started framing out and finishing out my basement. And towards the end of it, I really started thinking, man, this table saw is a lot of fun to use. And this little woodworking and finishing work that I'm having to do is a lot of fun. So let's just redesign the basement. And instead of this area being a storage room, let's turn it into a little shop room. And that's actually where I'm sitting right now. This was going to be a storage room. So now our house has no storage. So we have to be careful just how many bins full of Christmas decorations we get because we have no place to put them. But this has kind of been my passion ever since then.
That's fantastic. Now, what are you an engineer background or anything like that?
I, you could kind of say that I am a software engineer. So computers started to get really big in my life when I was just leaving high school. I'm 47 years old, so if you kind of figure out the math, the home computer wasn't really a big thing when I was in high school, but towards the end of it, it was. So I got into computers and I started writing code and I started selling the programs that I was writing. So at that point, I really got a taste for engineering, software engineering. And so that's what I went to college for. And most people don't know this, but I actually own a computer company as well as Fisher Shop. So that's kind of my day job, and Fisher Shop is the other half of me. It's kind of like my night job. But yeah, so I manage them both.
Well, you know, having the same boss in both places, that can't always be a good thing.
Well, I've been working out of the home for about probably 10 to 12 years now, and I've been loving it. I love it just being home all the time. My wife is always here. My son is homeschooled, so our family is always together, and it's really nice not having to use an alarm clock and drive somewhere to work every day.
So you mentioned before a little bit about where your inspiration came from to get into woodworking, but what was your inspiration or who was your inspiration to take that and convert it into YouTube creativity, producing videos?
Well, this is actually not my first YouTube channel. I had dabbled in YouTube for a. I had two other channels. One of them was just kind of my own personal repository for home videos, and so I've got some, personal videos of, my family and stuff that I'd leave unlisted, and I would just share with family members. But then every now and then, I'd put on my engineer hat and I'd go out to the garage and I'd build something, and I'd take a video of it showing it off, and then I would put that up on that page just to see if there was any interest whatsoever. And there really wasn't. Some of the things that I made were kind of cool, but nothing really took off. Later on down the road, I really got into aerial photography. So I had a YouTube channel dedicated to drones and taking aerial photographs and video. And I had all sorts of videos there, how to tweak and modify your drones and the transmitters and all that stuff. And I even had some crazy videos of, like when my drones got attacked. So stuff like that. And I got out of that because that whole scene changes very, very quickly. You can buy, it's kind of like an iPhone. If you go and buy the latest iPhone, it's going to be obsolete in a year, right? Same thing with drones, but even faster. So I just didn't have the money to pour into always buying the latest and greatest drones. And that's what everybody wanted to see. So that channel kind of dwindled off. But something about making videos on YouTube was enjoyable. And so I figured I got to find something else that I can do where I can still kind of, interject YouTube into it. And then I finished out the basement, and I figured, wow, this woodworking thing is fun. And if right off the bat, I didn't think I'm going to go right to YouTube with this. Instead, I was building out my shop, and I started watching other people on YouTube, and I thought, wow, I could have done that video way better than that guy did. And look at him. He's got all these followers, and man, I wonder if I should try this. I wonder if I should put my own spin on things and give it a shot. So I really started thinking about that idea, and I started coming up with new jigs and new fittings for dust collection and new things that I've never seen before. And then I would take small videos of them just using my phone, because I had no gear at the time. Just using my phone, I would take a small video and I would post it on Facebook in some of the woodworking groups. And the comments were overwhelming. And most of them were saying, you've got to put this on YouTube, because this is your idea is great. I've never seen it before. And this is really, really awesome. So I figured, okay, I'll start a channel. And so if you go way back on my channel and look at some of the very first ones, I've actually deleted some of the very, very first videos because they're too painful to watch. But some of the very early ones that are still there, you'll see that the format is much different. I'm not really, dropping jokes. I don't have a voiceover. I'm just talking at the camera, kind of like I am doing right now. And I'm just telling you my ideas. And some of them are really good, and some of them are kind of dumb. But it was all setting the stage for where I am now.
So, so there's YouTubers out there that you saw their videos and you said, I could do that better. But were there YouTubers out there that you're like, wow, he's really doing a great job, and that helped inspire you at all?
Yeah, it did. I immediately gravitated towards, and many of you may know him, Matthias Wandel. He has a web page or a website called woodengears.ca, I think it is. He's Canadian, and he is very much an engineer. I think he has a mechanical engineer background, and I love watching his stuff. He has got that engineer mind, and just watching him solve a problem and build his own tools, it just blew my mind away. So even to this day, I love watching his material. Other guys very similar to like that, Izzy Swan has got that engineer's mindset. Neil Paskin from Pask Makes, he's got it too. So those are just a few examples of the guys that I still enjoy watching today.
Yeah, Matthias has the homemade bandsaw and
Yeah,
other
a
equipment.
few of them. He's got
Yeah,
like 3 or 4 of them.
yeah, he keeps upgrading things.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really good. We had Izzy on here a few weeks ago.
he's a brilliant guy, isn't he?
Yeah, just amazing work that they do. If if you could go back in time and tell yourself just starting YouTube, what would you tell yourself? What would you go back and say, young Drew, this is what I would do if I were you?
It's a good question. Um, I I don't know, because I kind of went into it knowing that I wanted to be different from the others. I didn't want to project that I was a professional. I'm certainly not a professional. Um, I don't look at myself that way now, even though I've got, several years of experience. I don't know all the best ways of doing things, so I wanted to stay very open to the idea that there are always better ways of doing it. So instead, I was kind of focused on in my videos saying, this is how I did it, or this is how I'm doing it. There might be better ways out there. Um, Other things that I would do, I don't know. My early videos, when I first started out, they weren't that difficult to make. I could literally come down here, prop my phone up against the something, lean it up and aim it at me, and I could crank out a video in no time. The videos that I make now take weeks to put together. All the editing, all the different camera shots, the writing the voiceover, writing the jokes, adding all that in, recording the voiceover, then splicing it all in. It is so much work. What I probably would have told myself is to keep it simple and get people used to you keeping it simple. And then you can produce even more content, and you wouldn't be pretty much handcuffed and pigeonholed into what I actually have become. And that's the jokester that drops the funny dad jokes and the puns, and it's the videos are always good in the end, and I enjoy them, and I'm proud of my videos, but man, they are so much work. They are so much work to put together. And I look at some other channels and it's just like, why didn't I think of that? Because they can put together a really well done, crafted video, but yet the way that they did it, it's so much easier than the way I go about it. But I'm just kind of stuck in my ways, and I don't see that changing now. But a lot of people just don't know how much work actually goes into making one of these videos. And just as an example, I have one camera on a tripod that I have to adjust by hand. I used to have like a gantry system, and I actually still have it. I just don't use it for filming all that much. So I set up my tripod, aim the camera at the table saw, and then I'll hit record, and I walk around. I'll turn on the table saw, and I'll start to push the piece through, and then I'll stop halfway, turn off the table saw, walk back around, move the camera to a different angle, change the lens on the camera, adjust the height, zoom in, focus, hit record, go back, turn the table saw on, finish the cut. And then I turn the saw off, come back, put on a wide angle lens, adjust the camera, all for just like one cut. And it's just so much work weeding through all of this footage and all these different camera angles after the fact. And it's like, you know what? I should just keep it simple. But I don't know. I guess what I need to hear is hear from you guys, whether all that effort and all that work is worthwhile, or would it look the same and feel the same if I just had a camera like mounted up in the corner of my shop where you could see the whole thing and just kind of watch me work. Um, I don't know.
Yeah. And we can get that input. People put that in the chat. Is it worth it with all the cuts, that you have whenever you're watching a project video? And my viewpoint is that I think it is, because it is engaging. It keeps my attention. It's it, instead of just having one steady shot, like we're sitting here right now with one steady shot. Um, I like live streams, but with a regular video, that doesn't always work. Just having a
That's right.
steady shot, and I think your efforts have paid off over the years. The YouTube environment has changed in this short 5 years you've been doing it.
It
What
has.
what uh what what changes do you recognize, and how would that change advice you would give maybe to someone starting now?
Oh, okay, well that's easy. The big change that I've seen is that people have gotten even shorter attention spans than normal. So if you are going to start a YouTube channel and you're going to start recording yourself working, keep the pace really, really fast. People get bored super quick. And when they get bored, they either start tapping those arrow keys to speed through the video, or else they'll just drag the slider across the screen so that they can speed through and skip to the end and see what you've built. But if you want to engage them throughout the whole video, you've got to keep the pace really, really fast, because people just get bored. They didn't used to, but nowadays, if I don't keep things moving really, really fast, I can look at the analytics of my videos and I can see people are skipping through them. So that's one piece of advice. So if you're going to start recording, make sure you keep that pace going really, really fast. So in some of my earlier videos where I would show myself milling lumber and feeding a board through the planer, and I'd show it going in, and then I would show it coming out, and then I'd show me, walking it around and putting it through the planer again. That's just too much. People get bored and they'll skip it. So that's why just about 100% of my videos are all sped up. It's me moving really, really fast in the shop, and I take really short clips, because I just don't want people to get bored. And don't show everything either. That's another piece of advice. Don't show everything. Let people fill in with their brains what you've done, so you don't have to show you gluing every single board or putting every single thing in clamps. And if you're making a small piece, just say, hey, I made this small piece and this is going to fit in here. They don't need to see everything. They can fill it in with their head, and that way it kind of keeps them from getting bored. But fast videos are really what you got to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. And today's viewer is different. They expect more. They got to see. They got to be constantly engaged, or they move on. We got a few comments back on that. Alien Leader says, I love your video, and so it's not going to matter to me how you record. Keep it entertaining and informative. So that's I agree. You do a great job. Part of that is your pacing, and I know it's a lot of work, but it's appreciated by your viewers. I know. Suman says, from Woodcraft by Suman, the viewers should have better viewing angle of the projects than you do in the shop.
Oh,
They
yeah.
they don't have to see it all, but they should see the gist of it.
Yeah. And I
And I
think
think,
that's kind of where the close-ups really pay off, is it gives them that, up and close view that they might need.
yeah, and you know, everybody may have seen a board run through, a table saw before, but they haven't seen that board. But do you really have to show every inch of the cut for them to get the gist?
No, you don't.
Yeah. So Make with Jake, talking about your extra effort, says it's totally worth it. unless it stops you from making videos. If that happens, then dial it back.
Yeah.
So
So far,
basically
it hasn't
saying,
stopped me.
don't let it burn you out, brother.
Yeah, and well, burnout is a very real thing, and I have some friends that have just burned out just because of how much work it really is. I don't have a crazy schedule. I know some really big YouTube channels out there, they say, you know what, Monday is design day, and that's when I just am on the computer all day. Tuesday is prototype day, and Wednesday and Thursday are when we actually film building the project, and Friday is editing day, and Saturday's release day, and then I have Sunday off, and then Monday's back to design day. I don't do that, nor could I do that. It's just not me. I have a whole nother job that I have to attend to. I have a family that I want to give attention to. So I do a video about once a month, and like I said, it takes me about 2 weeks to do a video, anyways. Maybe I'm just really slow at this, but I don't want to stress myself out. I want to, take a few days off and spend it with my family and enjoy it. And so far, I haven't been getting burned out. But that's good advice, though. As soon as I feel myself getting burned out, I'll dial it back. And you know who did that is Matthias Wandel. He used to invest a whole bunch of time in editing in his videos, and they were really something. And his most recent ones, he's really dialed it back, and he's just kind of doing the single camera angle, and he does his thing. And for what the size of his audience, he can get away with it now. But I think it might actually hinder me if I were to do it now.
And your audience seems huge to us, but those like Matthias and Steve Ramsey and some others.
Yeah, they're in the millions.
Yeah, they're way up there. So Scott says, I'm currently trying to simplify my production, and I found the more planning, scripting, and writing I do before I start the video, the quicker the production process. Do you do a script ahead of time?
Yeah, I think he's probably referring to like a voiceover script. The very first videos I did not do that. I actually finished the video, and then I would hit play, and then I would record myself talking into a microphone while watching the video, and I'd just kind of be narrating what I'm doing. And then once I finished that recording, I'd throw it in. After listening and watching to my own videos using that technique, I realized that I kind of sound very dumb when I do that. I say a lot of ums and ahs and pauses, and I say the wrong word, or else I mispronounce something. And it just helps so much more to write a voiceover, because that way I can read it, and if I don't like the way it sounded when I read it, I can just read it again and again and again until I got the whole thing read. Then I can put that whole audio clip in the editor and then just slice it up and delete the parts I don't like and mix everything else in.
Yeah. AJ pointed out here that I feel the complex video production is becoming normalized. And I think he's right. The viewing consumer is getting used to it, and they're trained to want it. It's those we don't do Mr. Beast style videos, but our pacing is becoming more and more like that in the woodworking niche. Always changing to a different view.
Yeah.
So Mackenzie Lumbermill says, yes, your videos are great. I hired a 19-year-old kid to do my videos and editing together. You have anybody that does helps you out with editing?
No, I do it all. I do all the videography, all the planning, the building, all the audio work, all the editing, all the marketing. I just do it all. I don't have anybody else that to be honest, I don't have anybody else that I think I would trust to do it, because I have a very particular way that I like to do things, and I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I'm a bit OCD. So I actually enjoy the editing process. It's the getting down here in the shop and getting dusty and doing all the camera stuff that I don't necessarily like. So if I had to hire out any of it, it would be that. It would be hiring somebody to do the video work and to record me. The problem, however, is that I have a very bad back. So I will come down here and I'll work in the shop for sometimes, just 30 minutes. Sometimes it's for hours, but before I know it, my back is just killing me and I have to rest. So, I turn off the lights here and I go upstairs and I sit on the couch and I rest. And then I feel good and I'll come back down. So if I was paying somebody like by the hour to be down here filming me, I'd have to say, okay, well, we got to take a break because I'm about to pass out here. So I don't think that'll work. I think I'll continue to do it myself, just because I don't know. I would feel bad for somebody that would always have to, kind of cut up their work day because my back can't handle it.
Everyman Build says you didn't mention what kind of software you write.
Let's see. The software that I wrote, I think I would probably bore your entire audience to tears if I told you about the programs that I would write. I wrote network monitoring programs, and I use those. I use those now for my other business. It's a big series of programs that monitors and reports on issues on an entire network of computers for my clients. And so if anything goes wrong on any of the computers, it reports back to me, and then I can see it on my phone, and then I can go up, dial in, and fix it. So not all that interesting, but it was years and years of coding to make it all happen. And if you're a nerd like me, it's really cool, but I'm not going to bore you all with it
now. Okay. I'm not sure I would understand it anyway, but that's okay. All right. So as you progressed in YouTube, was there a certain point or a certain video where you said, okay, this is going to work. I can be really successful at this?
I'd say so. I did this video called The Ultimate Bed, and basically I was just making a bed for my son. It's quite the bed though. It's kind of like almost like a loft bed, but not. It has 6 big dresser drawers underneath it. It has a pull-out hamper. It has a bookcase on the end. It has a set of stairs, and then the headboard lights up with LED lights and all that. So anyways, it was a big project, and the whole thing was modular, and I designed it myself, built it myself, got it installed, and the video got put that together really well. It was for one of my very first sponsors, Craig, the makers of the pocket hole jig. They sponsored that video, and I kind of went overboard or over and beyond what I should have done as far as the promotion, because I was saying name Craig every 5 seconds, and I got a lot of negative comments regarding that. But anyways, regardless, the video actually didn't do well. It just kind of sat there, and it racked up like maybe like 9,000 views, and then it just died. And I thought, oh well, that's a bummer. Oh well, and then probably 4 or 5 months later, something happened, and I don't know what happened, but YouTube just grabbed that video and it just fired it off like a rocket. And now I think it's over like 2 million or something like that. And once that happened, I gained a lot of subscribers. I gained a lot of momentum on the channel, and I wanted to just keep feeding it so that I could ride that wave. I guess advice to you, if you're out there trying to make a channel of your own work, is that I don't know how the YouTube algorithm works. I don't know what it likes. I don't know what it doesn't like. It seems like that video, I don't know. I have no explanation for why it sat dormant and then all of a sudden it just flew. Um, so I guess my advice to you would be that any of your videos could really take off at any time. So don't give up. Just keep putting more stuff out there, and eventually it's going to hit.
Yeah. And that is a good place for me to let people know that we're having a giveaway of sorts tonight. We're going to do a drawing. If you have a woodworking or maker channel and you would like a 30-second video clip roasted by Nate from Channel Makers, he is going to be a guest next month. And if you win tonight, we will identify 30 seconds or up to 30 seconds from one of your videos. And while Nate is on the channel, he will roast it, tell you what you could have done differently to make that 30-second clip even better. And so you get to win, but we get to pick which of your videos and which portion to do. And this is the first drawing that we've had that it can be from anywhere. I don't care. You can be from Canada or UK this time, that it's not limited to an address I have to mail to. So if you have a woodworking or maker style channel and you want to enter that, I will tell you how to do that in a few minutes. Our guests coming up in the next few weeks are great. We're going to have Caleb Harris from You Can Make This Too, followed by Steve Ramsey from Woodworking for Mere Mortals, and followed by Nate from Channel Makers. So we've got a great lineup with Drew here tonight. That makes 4 great weeks. And of course, I think all my guests are great. But Drew, we are really, really glad to have you here. And there are lined up questions and comments. So let's go to a few of those before we get back to more mine. So a milestone for Splinter Fingers Woodworking, partnered with SaneSmart Laser and Opt Laser for content. That's awesome. That's awesome. Work with those companies. You got this. Let's see. Alien Leader says, what's your next project? That's a great question.
My next one. Well, if you go out to Fisher Shop online and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there will be a mailing list that you can sign up for. Now, anytime I release a video, I usually try to promote that video by sending out a newsletter too. I'm not going to inundate you with a whole bunch of spam. I don't do that. I just send you a message saying, hey, I got a new video out here, and that gives you a little bit of the backstory and why a little bit of info about that. And then I also have a little segment in that newsletter where I talk about what's coming up next. And my last 2 videos have been about the laundry room remodel. My wife has been asking for this for years, and I finally said, you know what? I'll do it. I didn't think there was going to be an opportunity for me to sell plans because everybody's laundry room is a little bit different. So in the first one that I did, where I made that big tabletop and the shelf and the drying rack, no plans for that because everybody's laundry room is different. Measurements, dimensions, it doesn't make any sense to sell plans for that. Then I figured, you know what? We could do a drying rack, like an adjustable drying rack. And that was the video I just put out. And that I did sell plans for. I put together some plans, and those have been selling pretty well. I'm kind of surprised. It's clever design, um, but again, not everybody needs something like that. So I didn't expect it to just kind of fly off the shelf, but people are picking it up. So next is the last installment for the laundry room remodel, and what that's going to be is 2 carts. So our washer and dryer are kind of centered right in the middle of the laundry room, and there is this empty space on either side that I'm going to make a cart for each one. So one of the carts is going to hold all of my wife's like cleaning supplies and stuff like that. So it's a multi-shelved cart for that. And then the cart on the other side is going to be kind of like a mobile hamper so that she can pull that out and I guess wheel it around and stuff it full of dirty clothes or however that works. I plead ignorance when it comes to doing laundry. And so far I've lucked out. I've been married for 23 years now and she's never asked me to do laundry. So fingers crossed, I can continue that. The trick is just pressing the wrong button every time and then asking her for help. So that's what's next.
Yeah, keep perpetuating that idea that you don't know how to do laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'll just do it wrong. And then she'll say, get out of here.
Now that the walnut, what you've done in that laundry area is pretty amazing. And
Thanks.
the design of the drying rack is pretty neat. I mean, it's right out of an engineer's mind for sure. You know, you've got to almost have a gearing system there.
Yeah.
So it's really neat. I've got another question here from Scott Walsh, and
Okay.
Scott Walsh, his videos have been taking off, doing wonderful. What other income streams do you take advantage of for your YouTube channel? Product placement, sponsors, selling plans. We know you sell plans.
Yes.
But how about sponsors, product placements, that kind of thing?
Selling plans and YouTube ad commission are the top sources of income for me. Selling plans actually outweighs the YouTube ad revenue by a lot as well. So I should just say plans are my number one. Then it comes YouTube ad revenue. After that, like Amazon, pays me because I have a store and I do lots of references, or what do you call it? Influencer. Gosh, I hate that word, but yeah. So I get a little bit of commission from Amazon, and then I have a bunch of affiliates that I work with, and I have a page on my website dedicated to all the affiliates that I work with. So I have coupon codes where people can save money when buying new tools, and every time they use one, we both win. They get to save money and I get a little kickback from that company. So I make a little bit of money there as well. Merchandise, I sell t-shirts and stickers and that sort of thing. And I don't break the bank with those. Frankly, I still find it really weird that people want to wear a shirt that has my name on it. But they do, and I sell them all over the place. I just recently switched companies to fulfill those orders because I used to be locked into only being able to sell them to the continental US. And I had so many people over in Europe and other countries asking me, hey, we want to buy your shirts, but we can't do it. So I had to switch, and now they can. So a little bit of revenue there as well. Sponsorships were big for a while. And then I really I pulled back on the reins, and I didn't want to do the sponsorship thing. I guess I never really got burned by a sponsor, but I did take on sponsors that I wasn't too happy about what they were asking me to do. First of all, I'm very picky when I do pick my sponsors. I don't just go with anyone. because I want it to fit in with the video. I don't want to, for example, if I'm making a wooden table, all of a sudden and say, cut the video and say, now I'm going to tell you about this video game that you can play on your phone, and then go back to building the table. They don't mix well. It doesn't make sense. So my sponsors are typically woodworking related to some degree. There have been a couple exceptions to that. I think I did a sponsorship video promoting Wix, and Wix is my website. But I figured I could work it in by saying, you can go to Fisher Shop Online. And by the way, this website is hosted by Wix, and this is how it works. So I really try to be picky and make them gel well, just because I think the video will perform better. Be that as it may, you still have some very, very successful and large YouTube channels out there that will take on just about any sponsor, because it's all about the dollars. And if this was my only job that I had to do to put food on the table for my family, then yeah, I probably wouldn't be so picky with sponsors. So take that however you want. But the sponsorship, I've really just kind of wanted to make videos the way I want to make them and not have that dictated to me by a sponsor, even though that they would be paying me well. Some of the sponsors, they send you a contract to sign that says you need to show our logo within the first 30 seconds of your video. You need to do a minute-long promotional speech about us within the first 5 minutes, and it needs to show video of our product, and our name placement needs to be here, and lots of stipulations. The one that really kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back was they have something called a viewer guarantee. Not all sponsors have this, but some of them do, especially when you're working through an agency. And the viewer guarantee was basically saying, for a channel your size, we require this video to have 50,000 views in the first month. And if it doesn't, then you're going to be penalized, and you have to basically create a second video for us for free. So even though I was pretty sure I was going to be able to hit that milestone probably within a couple days, I still didn't like it because of the principle of the thing. You cannot predict YouTube. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying before about the whole ultimate bed video. You can't predict it. Your video may sit dormant there for months and then all of a sudden blast off like a rocket ship. So having a viewer guarantee just doesn't make sense. Now, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to cover their bases, right? And they're trying to protect themselves from the risk. But what they're doing is they're putting the risk on you, the video creator. And I don't think that that's right for an advertiser. They should own all of the risk. As it is, right now, they're getting to choose somebody that is advertising their product to a very select demographic, a targeted audience. So if I choose a woodworking sponsor, they're comfortable knowing that their product is going to be pitched directly to a targeted woodworking audience. So that alone is enough for me to say, no, I am not going to do any viewer guarantee for you. You can use me if you would like. And if you don't want to, then you don't have to. I'll just do it without a sponsor. That's fine. So far, I've been able to do that pretty successfully. I've never signed a viewer guarantee clause with a sponsor, and I think I've treated my sponsors very well. Lately, I've changed my angle so that I don't really go overboard and form it into a commercial. Instead, I really try to blend the promotional for the sponsor into the video so that you don't even know you're watching a commercial. So presentation is another thing that kind of makes the sponsorships work. That is a very long-winded way to Scott answering your question to say that sponsorships are a source of income. However, I do not accept any of I don't accept all of them. I just do very few sponsorships on videos that I know are going to do well.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question
Okay.
after I give them the keyword to put into the chat to enter this contest. So
Oh,
if you have a maker or woodworking based channel with woodworking or maker videos, and you want to have up to 30 seconds of one of your videos roasted by Nate from Channel Makers, enter hashtag roast, hashtag ROAST, and we will draw that right after this question is answered. So you make your own plans, Drew,
I do.
and what what's the difference between a good set of woodworking plans and a not so good set? Because
I knew you were going to.
I think we've seen them both, right?
I knew you were going to ask this. So my plans are very unorthodox. By that, what I mean is when you see a typical set of plans to make, let's say, a workbench, you see the front, the side, maybe the top. You see pictures of it, like two-dimensional pictures of that, and then you see dimensions written all over it, and then maybe you have a cut list down to the side, and that's it, right? My plans are not like that at all. I target the kind of like the entry DIYer, the people that are just starting out that maybe have never worked with plans before, and my plans are basically holding their hand, walking them through the project from start to finish. So instead of just showing them, finished product pictures with dimensions, I still do show dimensions of individual pieces and stuff, but I walk them through it. So like it'll say step one, we're going to be making the legs here, and this is what each leg is going to look like, and here's how you do that. So set up your dado stack in your table saw. You need to cut your first notch on your first leg here and there and there. So it really walks you through the entire process. There is, for example, my sets of plans on some of my larger products, they're like 35 pages long. They're really long, but they're very in depth, and I'd like to say they're completely idiot proof, which means all of the information you would ever want to know is in the plans. But apparently not, because I get questions every single day from my customers. But overwhelmingly positive feedback from my plans, because the new woodworker or the everyday DIYer likes to have the insurance of just kind of doing it step by step, knowing that they're doing it in the correct order, as opposed to just seeing a finished picture of a workbench and trying to replicate each of the pieces based on the dimensions that are shown. My plans just kind of walk you through and say, okay, we're going to do this together, and here's how you do it all. So that being said, the way I make my plans is probably the most inefficient way that you could do so. I use Fusion 360 to make the design, and then what I do is I use the design mode and animation mode of Fusion 360 to get the right camera angles and the right pictures. I screenshot that, and then I paste it into a graphics editor where I draw in the dimensions and add the text that I need. Then I screenshot that again, and I paste it over here into Microsoft Word, and I write a whole bunch of dialogue that goes along. I write content, not dialogue, but explaining what that was in that picture. So they're a tremendous amount of work, and I sell them ridiculously cheap. My plans typically are just $5. I've had lots of feedback from people saying that should be a $35 set of plans. I believe that if I keep them cheap, people will keep coming back, and they'll keep buying plans for my other projects. And so far, it's proven to work.
Well, yeah, I've looked at your website and thought these are some of the most reasonably priced plans that I've seen online. So, I mean, any less and you're giving them away. So I know your audience appreciates it, and it leads to return customers.
It does.
And by the income, you were saying that they're doing quite well for income, because once you build them, then it's evergreen, right? I mean,
That's
you
it.
can keep
Yeah,
making money for years.
the videos are out there in perpetuity, and the plans, I just have to put forth the effort. It takes me about probably 10 to 12 hours to put together a set of plans. And once I do that, I only have to do it once. And then, they just sit out there, and people can buy them. So
All right.
who's getting roasted?
Let's find out. We're going to collect the comments and see who won. And I want to take this opportunity to remind you to like the video. And if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. You don't know if we might be doing this again another time. So let's start collecting comments now. All right, 21 entries, which is about what I expected from the number of roast, hashtag roast I saw in the comments. And we will draw a winner. And that winner will have 3 minutes to acknowledge it in the chat. And we're drawing now.
Oh, look at all those people. Well, that's cool. Oh, it's slowing down.
Hey,
Mayhem. Cool.
Mastering Mayhem, who has been a guest on the show. That is awesome. Great to have you here tonight, Marius. I will go to the comments, and if you will, okay. So I see the response. All right. So we will be looking at. But his wife is, I don't even work here, and she says that means I win. Okay, so we will work that out. Thank you for being here. All right, we have several more questions, and
let's do it.
Not a whole lot of time. So Splinter Fingers Woodworking says, how many more slotted screws do you have left?
Oh, I've got thousands. I'm not going to be running out anytime soon.
And John from Lincoln Street Woodworks says, do you write your jokes before or just let them flow out naturally?
I write them, and I try to stagger them through the voiceover. So when I am writing the script for the voiceover, I'll basically pause. Like, I'll be writing through, and it's like, oh, man, I'm really due for a joke. I need to put something in there, and I could probably say something funny about this, but it's just not coming to me right now. So then I'll just continue on, and I'll come back to it, and I'll just dwell on it. And I remember the first time that I was doing this. This was way back for one of my very first cutting board videos, a 3-dimensional cutting board, and I knew that I could say something funny about how I was putting the rubber bands around some of these pieces to hold them together when I was gluing them. And I just could not think of a funny joke. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to go out and mow the yard, and I'll think about it when I'm mowing the grass. And I was like halfway done with the front yard, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got it. So I stopped the mower, and I ran inside, and I wrote down the joke. And it's I'm not going to tell you what the joke is. You have to go watch the video. But yeah, it was funny. So sometimes I don't have them thought of yet, and sometimes when I'm making the product down here in the shop, I'm like, oh, you know what I should say about that would be funny, so I know of it way ahead of time before I even start writing the voiceover. So hit or miss, really, but most of the time they do just kind of flow out. But I'm a dad. I'm full of dad jokes. What do you expect?
Whenever you think of a good one, you need to jot it down and work it into a video,
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, Friday Workshop says, how much do you spend? How much do you speed up the different parts of your video? So do you go 2 times, 4 times?
Right. So I use Sony Vegas Pro as my editor, and that has a limitation to only be able to speed up with a synchronous sound clip 4 times. So usually what I do is I just grab the clip and I slide the speed thing all the way up. So it is sped up 4 times. If I need to go faster, and there are several moments when I need to do that. For example, if I'm using the CNC and I'm showing that machine go really, really fast, it's kind of cool to see like something get mortised out on the CNC really quick, or just to see it take shape really quick. That's way faster than 4 times. So what I'll do is I'll speed it up to 4 times, render that little clip, and then I'll draw the new render into the video and speed that one up 4 times. So now it's 16 times faster. And sometimes I even need to take that clip out and then render that one, put that in, and speed that up even more. And then it's 16 times for whatever. That's math, and I don't do that. So that's how I do it. So Sony Vegas has a limitation, but that's my workaround. That's what I do. And if you're looking to get into editing your own videos, don't use Sony Vegas. Don't do it. I don't recommend it. It's very powerful. It does everything that I want it to do. But honestly, if I could immediately snap my fingers and transfer all my Sony Vegas knowledge to something else, I would. But I just don't have the time to learn a new program. Sony Vegas is not the best. I don't recommend it. Use something like Premiere, or hey, if you're on a budget, use what is it? DaVinci? Is that it?
DaVinci Resolve?
Yeah, DaVinci Resolve. That's free and it's super powerful. Learn that.
All right. We've got a question
Okay.
from Everyman Builds, who's over in the UK watching us. Do you have a target video length and target analytics? And then a follow-up question: what's the hardest thing you've ever had to cut out for time?
Okay. This is a very good question, because it has really been weighing on me lately that my audience has gotten to the size it has with a certain expectation. However, I think if I slowly start reducing the length of my videos, not by a whole lot, but let's say if I make a 12-minute video 8 minutes instead of 12 minutes, would that really be costing me? Would they be upset with that, or would they still enjoy the video? Because 4 minutes less is a lot less work that I have to do, right? It saves me on editing time and script writing time and all that stuff. It just makes it easier. So if the video would still perform just as well at 8 minutes as it would 12, then why am I killing myself to make 12-minute videos? Is that my target length? No, not really. Usually what I do is I just throw everything into Sony Vegas and I rough edit and I see where it's at. Sometimes it's at like 21 minutes long. It's like, nobody's going to watch a 21-minute video, because I know when I'm scrolling through my subscriptions, if I see somebody out there with like a 22-minute video, I don't even watch it. I'm like, I don't got time for that. And I'll scroll past it, and then I'll proceed to watch like 5-minute videos. And it's like, well, wait a minute. That's even longer than the 22-minute video. But it's weird. Something's weird going on with my brain, or just the overall perception of everybody. Shorter videos tend to do better than longer ones. Maybe it's just the thinking that in a longer video, people are going to be long-winded and it's going to drag and you're going to get bored. But so no, I don't have a target, but if I rough edit something and it's long, like 20, I know already that I'm going to be reducing that and cutting it out a whole bunch. And in the video editing scene, this is going to sound really bad, and I apologize for it ahead of time, but there's a professional video group that they have a sign on their computers, and it says, "Don't be afraid to kill babies." And I know that sounds horrible, but what they mean by that is that when you take a really cool shot, an awesome shot, and you try to fit it into the video and it just doesn't work, it doesn't make sense, or else your audio, your dialogue, doesn't overlap enough, and you have to cut something else out so that you can progress on the video. You need to cut that little section out, and they know it's your baby and that you love that shot, but you got to get rid of it so that the video itself is going to work. And I've had to do that many, many, many times. I've taken really cool. For example, I remember one shot I took. I was cutting something, I think, with a track saw, and I had the camera on the ground, upside down, with the lens looking straight up, so you could see the blade coming through the wood, and the sawdust was raining down, and the light was just right where it hit the sawdust, and it was in slow motion, and it just looked cool. But I had to kill that one because it just didn't fit into the video. It didn't make sense. As far as all of the target analytics go, I don't click on those buttons because I don't really know how to interpret all of that stuff. I should probably take a class or something on how really to make sense of all of the clicks and the view durations and all that stuff. But if I look at the analytics for just about every single one of my videos, I can see that as soon as I show the glamour shot, the very first glamour shot of the finished product, most people just click or skip to the next video right then. All they're interested in is seeing that very first end picture. And they have no idea that, I even do outtakes at the end of my video. So the people that do watch me for the outtakes at the end of the video, that's kind of like you're a select group of people. You are my core group, and I like you guys because you watch the whole thing. But most people don't.
Well, that group includes me, because I love your outtakes because it's so real, and some of your funniest moments. I know you script or you plan some of your jokes earlier in the video, but
the outtakes are real, and I've had
your reactions are hilarious.
Yeah, they're like, you staged that outtake, or that looked too fake. Well, it may have looked fake, but trust me, it's real.
Okay, so Justin, who was our highlighted channel of the night, Justin Woodworks, was asking when you started woodworking. We discussed briefly about your shop.
Mm-hmm. Not too long ago.
Yeah, so you kind of hit the ground running, trying to do your DIY project in the basement.
That's right.
And then that just carried over into, I enjoy doing this, I'm going to do more of this.
Yeah.
And that led to YouTube.
That's right.
So that kind of leads to the next question. I lost it, which you kind of touched on. You have two businesses, right? You have the YouTube business and everything associated with Fisher Shop.
That's
and
right.
Then you have the software business, or
my computer consulting company. That has been my primary source of income for years now. I started that. Oh goodness, it's probably been close to 10 years ago that I've started that company. And it's been great. I've had employees, I've lost employees. At this moment, it's just me and my bank of customers or clients that I work with, and it's been great. Um, Especially, it's been great when Fisher Shop was small. Now, as Fisher Shop has grown, they're actually pretty 50-50 now as far as income goes. I am not seeking new customers or clients with my computer company. So I'm just going to kind of let that drift off. I have annual contracts with my customers, and when they come up for renewal, I'm always thinking, well, maybe they won't renew, and I'll just kind of get, that company will be dwindling off and getting smaller and smaller. So far, they've always been renewing with me, um, which is great. But eventually, they won't, right? So, and I'm just going to let that company just kind of fizzle out and fade out, maybe over the next 4 or 5 years. And as during that time, Fisher Shop should be ramping up even more. So at least that's my plan. So is it full time? I guess it's not the full amount of my time. It's probably 50% of my time. But I will tell you that as far as the level of work invested, I have to invest far more work into Fisher Shop than I do for my computer company. Uh, the software that I've written for the computer clients that I have, it does all the work for me. So it notifies me when I need to work. And since I'm amazing at computers, nothing ever breaks, right? At least that's what I tell my customers. And since everything is running pretty well with them, it gives me a whole bunch of time to come down here in the shop and work on videos or to watch TV and procrastinate, which I'm very good at.
It's why do today what you can put off till tomorrow.
That's right.
So Sandy from McKenzie Lumber Mill says, I struggle with the title, thumbnail, and hook. Do you have any advice? And before you answer this, I will say, I think you are one of the good storytellers on YouTube. You
Thanks.
tend to lead the hook with an engaging story. Your wife needs something done over here,
Yeah.
or you ran into a storage problem over there, and
Yep.
it leads right into the build, and then you wrap it up at the end with a finished product and a solution to the challenge that the story gave. But
Yep.
what kind of advice would you give on title, thumbnails, and establishing a hook on the videos?
Well, the storytelling is a big piece of it. Just like what you explained, that equation, open it up with what the problem is, show your solution, which usually for me is the design, and then show the build, and then show the last, the glamour shots. Basically, that's my equation for just about every single one of my videos, and that has been working well for me. So I think that's the hook, right? Is that what you're referring to? I haven't heard that term before.
I'm sorry, you hadn't heard what term?
I hadn't heard the hook before. When you say the,
Oh, so the hook. Whenever we talk about the hook in our Facebook group and other places, the hook is what you say or show during the first part of the video that captures
oh, that
people's
hook.
attention
Okay.
and wants to make them see the rest of the video.
Yeah. That equation, I guess, kind of, uh, the hook would be me showing my real life problem that I need to solve, and then giving them a taste of it what my solution intends to be, because I show them the 3D rendering or the 3D model of what I'm about to build, and usually I say, I'm hoping that this is going to work. Let's build it and find out. I see a lot of YouTube creators, and I don't know if this is such an error on their part, but I show them, or they show me at the very beginning of the video, hey, check out this awesome, chessboard that I made. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this. Well, a lot of people, well, they see it and they're like, well, now I know what it's going to look like at the end. I see the finished thing right there. So why watch the video? And I know that that's not all of you, because most of you enjoy watching the build and to see how he actually did it. But most people, when they skip forward in a video because they're bored, they just want to see the end result. And if you show them the end result at the very beginning of your video, you're going to be losing some of your audience because they don't care. They want to see the end result. So that's I guess that would be the hook. Title and thumbnail. Um, I keep the thumbnails as plain as I possibly can. My older thumbnails, if you go look through all the thumbnails of my videos, you'll see the old ones are noisy. They have a whole bunch of color in the different letters and crazy fonts. And don't do that. Don't do that. I should delete those and remake those thumbnails, but I'm too lazy. You need to keep it plain and simple and clear. And what I do when I make my thumbnails is I shrink them down really small in my graphics editor so that I can make sure that I can still read the main print that's on there. So if it says adjustable drying rack and I can read it when the thumbnail's this big, then I know that people, when they're scrolling on their phone, can still read that thumbnail. And that's what's important. So make sure your thumbnails are legible when they're really, really small. Title. You'll notice every single one of my titles of my woodworking projects starts with the word woodworking. And everyone that is shop work related starts with the word shop work. And that is because I have a rule in place. Whenever I add a video, it automatically filters on that first word, and it allocates them to specific playlists so that they're automatically get added onto a stream for all those people that want to watch my videos on a playlist. So that's a little trick. But yeah, other than that, I don't do the clickbait thing. I just don't do it. And even if I was guaranteed 1 million views on my next video, I wouldn't do it. I don't like it. I feel like I am deceiving people, because you see people that take pictures of themselves, with like, like that, and they'll put that on their thumbnail, and you're supposed to think, wow, what are they so surprised at? I better click on this video. Yes, it works, but it also lowers view duration, and it can have a lot of other negative effects as well, especially leaving people feeling kind of deceived. Like, oh, well, that's not that big of a deal. I don't know why they had that image of themselves so surprised. I just don't, I'm not going to do that. I'll admit I tried it and it failed miserably, and I deleted the thumbnail and changed it to something else. And then the video started to turn around. So for me and my channel, doesn't work. If you go ask Mark Rober or Mr. Beast or any of these other huge channels, they will swear by it, and they'll say, absolutely, you have to pay attention to clickbait, and you need to follow that trend, and you need to be preparing 4 or 5 different thumbnails for every video you make, and watching the results every time you change the thumbnail, and then changing it to the one that was the most effective. I guess when I get 20 million subscribers, I'll hire somebody to do that for me. But as of now, I'm not going to do that.
So there's one tool that I will try to share here that I was recommended on somebody else's video, so I can't even take credit. But it's called Thumbs Up.
Thumbs Up. Okay.
Yeah. So I just put a sample thing in here. I said Woodworking with Drew Fisher as the title, and I dropped a thumbnail in there. And then whenever you scroll down, it will show you what it looks like on a computer.
Oh, look at that.
Home small screen. It even shows you the clock pasted over in the lower right-hand corner.
Oh, that's great.
So you can see it. And so I recommend this to everyone because I really like it. If you scroll further down, you get into mobile views, what they will look like. And the smallest view here on a computer screen, if you cannot read the key parts, then someone on their mobile phone would not be able to read it.
Yeah. See,
and you could see how the title overlaps.
yeah. Now
So I
that's
like
great.
that tool.
That's a great tool. As far as other tools I use for my page, I use one called Tube Buddy, and I think I paid like, I don't know, $20 or something to use it, and that makes all kinds of recommendations, and it helps you automatically pick keywords to make your video perform better, and it works. So I do recommend Tube Buddy as well.
Yeah, great tool. There is a small learning curve as you learn to use TubeBuddy, but not bad at all. And
Yep.
then it can give you some things to go with. We have another milestone here. I have created my first set of YouTube videos, filmed part of installing drywall on a ceiling of a garage, and a review on the new Fortress 26-gallon air compressor.
Oh, cool.
Congratulations.
That's
That's
awesome.
great. Yeah, you got things started now. And the last question for the night. If we missed any questions, folks, I apologize. Um, we've done our best to get to them, and I appreciate all of your participation. Mackenzie Lumbermill says, I have a sawmill homestead type channel. Do you think I should do videos building a deck, building a studio apartment using the wood we mill?
No, that'd be kind of cool. Um, were you planning to put them both in the same video though? So I kind of think I see different video opportunities there. Uh, that's kind of mixing two different genres, so to speak. The homestead lumber milling, I think, is very good for that demographic. When you start getting into building a deck or building out a studio apartment with lumber, I don't think it matters so much where you sourced the lumber, because that video is going to be targeting a different demographic, a different audience. Different groups of people are going to be searching for how to build a deck. Those same people are probably not going to be searching on how do you mill lumber, or bandsaw mills, or whatever it is that you're using. So I would probably not try to put them both in the same video, but definitely there is interest in both styles. So absolutely make the sawmill videos, and absolutely make the deck building one and the studio apartment one. Actually, I could see a video series coming out of that, right? So if you say, this is part one of building out my studio apartment, and then milk it for all you got, because as it is right now, I am like in the middle of multiple series of project videos that I enjoy watching, and I can't wait for the next one. And it could have all been done probably in one video, but here he has successfully cut it up into chapters in this project and made videos on each one, and he's really milking it all, and it's working. It's paying out for him, and it keeps me entertained as well. So I would say absolutely make videos on all of them, but probably don't combine them together. I'd say make a sawmill one, then make a deck one, and make a studio one, and make those series. I think that'll be good.
Sounds good. I lied. I'm gonna throw one other thing in there.
Okay.
Lawrence Lunsford said, Drew, one of our favorite videos was the one where you built a trash can pull out for your mom and dad. The interaction between you and your parents was priceless. Shows the kind of family man you are.
Oh, I
And
appreciate that.
I thought
That was something I was not going to film. I wasn't going to do it. Was not interested in. My mom was asking me. She's like, "I really like the trash can you have at your house. I want one installed here. Can you do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can." She's like, "You can make a video out of it, and it would be fun." And I'm like, "Mom, nobody's going to want to buy plans for that." She's like, "Well, you don't have to make plans. Just do the video." Oh, Mom, all my stuff, all my tools are over there, and I don't know, but she talked me into it, and you're right. It was so much fun just joking around with my mom, and that was it's probably one of my favorite videos. And I'm really glad that I captured that moment, because as as my dad's. Most of you don't know this, but a little insight into my family. My dad has Parkinson's disease, and he's had it for over 20 years now. And he's getting worse and worse and worse as the days go on. And the earlier videos that I have with him, where I made him the watch stand and I gifted him the watch on the video, and you could see his reaction. He's not like that anymore, unfortunately. So I was so happy that I captured that interaction between him and me in that video, because I'm gonna miss my dad. And yeah, I'm just really, really glad that I was able to capture some of those moments. And that's why I bring in my son and my wife in my videos too, because I want to capture as much of that as I can, because it's like a time capsule. These videos are going to live out forever. Hopefully, we'll see if YouTube's around in 10 years, but I just want to save that memory,
And thanks for sharing it with us. So much is said about YouTube that it's running a business, and that it's all business. That everything is calculated, from the length of your videos to the script that you're following to the plans that you produce. But in the end, we're all people, and we're subject to the feelings and emotions that are part of this human nature, and our families are a key part of that. And whenever you share that with others, you bring us into your home. You make us feel like part of that, and we all appreciate your openness about it. The transparency makes you genuine beyond the dad jokes.
Thanks.
So one last thing, Jar Made, congratulations on 15.
Oh, that's awesome.
1,000 subs. And you've got videos with more views than my little channel dreams of yet, but that's okay. But Jar Made, you're tearing it up. Keep at it. I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing there. Drew, where can our audience find you? Where can they find you on YouTube, Instagram? Where and all can they find you?
Well, I am Fisher's Shop on all of the things. So if you go to Google, or if you go to YouTube, or you go to Instagram and you just type in Fisher's Shop, then you should be able to find me. My website, however, somebody saw that my channel started to get big, and so they stole the domain fishershop.com, and then they tried to sell it to me for thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm like, no. So for my website, it's fishersshoponline.com. So that's why I had to add that little extra online there. It's because I'm cheap, and I'm not going to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for a domain. But that's how you can find me. And I am so glad that I had the chance to do this. Thanks for bringing me on the show.
Hey, it was great having you. I appreciate your willingness to come on. And at some point in the future, I hope we can do it again. I've really had a great time.
Oh, good. Yeah, so did I. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. And thanks for putting up with me and not banning me right out of the gate.
If you ever need anything from us, let us know.
I'll need some more flathead screws.
Yeah, you whenever you run out, let us know. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Drew.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, we're going to leave out tonight watching our highlighted channel, Justin's Woodworks. And I hope you go check out Justin as well, what he's doing over there. Again, his mom gave me permission to put his image and video on this live stream. And after that, we will be playing the outro with some of the best music that is royalty free on YouTube. And I hear my wife calling. I got to go.
Hi, I'm Justin with Justin's Woodworking. And on this channel, I'll be giving you tips and tutorials for woodworking. Make a variety of items. These items include wooden signs, wall art, wooden furniture, and keychains. When you place an order with me, I'll have to you within 2 to 3 weeks. It just depends on how long it takes me to get your project together. To me, woodworking is great. I think it is awesome that you get to build stuff for other people. Just seeing the smile on my customer's face when they receive their order just makes me feel good inside. I don't know if most of you have heard my backstory yet, but I started this whole business because of a yard sale. I started out with no tools. I had to borrow tools from my dad. Eventually, as my business progressed, I bought my own tools. Nowadays, business is slow. I get 1 to 2 orders every month. But that's okay. I'm grateful either way. You can find me on 3 basic platforms: Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. My Facebook page. Here's my YouTube. Here's my TikTok page. Let's go like, follow, and subscribe.
after all I've done, after all I've done, do you love me now? Do you love me now? After all I've said, running through your head, do you love me now? Do you love me told you everything, I bet you cry and run away. 'Cause with all the lies I keep, made you believe that this was me. The truth is I am not at all who I preach myself to be. And I deserve to be alone, and I'm alone here with me. And after
Landing gear is down and locked. Main gear touchdown.